Hey everyone, this is your captain speaking. Hi. I'm going to turn off my camera so it records better. I'm going to go over Chaucer and the Canterbury Tales today. Real quick, this is your information over the next 2 weeks. So, you do have a discussion board due this week. It's going to go over the general prologue, and then discussion board for next week. And then y'all have a group project due next Friday, and then journal 2 on Sunday. You can, of course, turn those in earlier if you choose to. So I do want to show you a couple things. Discussion boards are already posted in the discussion board tab. So 3 and 4 right there. And I do want to remind you that we're in lesson 1. It's the only lesson you can actually see right now. So if you click on that link, there's a ton of stuff in this folder, but the only thing that you have to concentrate on from now until we get to lesson 2 is everything Chaucer, and the TPT is just the Partner's Tale. All right, I do want to remind you that we do have a book. A lot of the information, like background knowledge that you need, you will be able to get from the PowerPoint that I'm about to go over. Also, like if you click this right here, oh, that's not it. I guess you are going to see me. Okay, no big deal. This book will come up. I even put the page numbers on here that you need, okay? So make sure that you're looking over the book and not just finding stuff on the web, because there's so many different translations and things out there that I don't want you using, okay? So there's that. I just have this stuff blacked out because when I teach other British literature courses, we go over more tales than just the Partner's Tale. But here I want to focus on the just the Partner's Tale and the general prologue. I'm going to shut this because I have my maid working. And by maid, I mean Roomba. Okay, so let's get into this. Hopefully this is working correctly. It didn't the first time. I know I'm talking to myself. All right, Canterbury Tales. All right, Canterbury Tales, Partner's Tale. All right, so I'm going to get more into the Partner's Tale later, but you'll hear me referencing it a lot throughout this video because that's the one that we're going to focus on. For this week, it's mainly going to be us reading the general prologue and learning about life in the Middle Ages. We're going to watch some pretty cool videos. Okay, so Geoffrey Chaucer, he's our author. He famously captures and satires life in the late Middle Ages. He's the author of the poem, The Canterbury Tales. His life. He lived in the 14th century, so that's the 1300s, an age of transition, of course. He was the son of a wine merchant. His family had lots of money. He was educated because they had money. He served in royal households in admin positions. He was able to travel for the crown to France and Italy, Spain, and lots of other places. He worked for King Edward III. He had a variety of jobs. He witnessed economic, political, and social changes in England. He did a lot of stuff. I mean, there's a lot that I could go over, but I'm trying to hurry. And you can read his biography in the PDF that I gave you, and also in the book. Chaucer's work, experience, and travels afforded him with the ability to see people from all levels of society. Like I said, he worked for the king, but he also saw people at the lowest level, so like paupers and people that were destitute. This exposure allows him to write characters who represent the lower, middle, and upper class. This in itself is unique, was unique. No longer does literature at this point in time only present the lives of kings and warriors, but it presented people that were just everyday folks. Even a lot of literature today and through the centuries after him, a lot of the literature only focuses on the glamour, the people that ran countries, that fought in the big battles. But he focused on people that just were trying to survive day to day. Canterbury Tales is written in Middle English, so we're leaving Old English behind. We're passing right through several centuries. Still, it would be very hard for me to read it, so we're reading translations, okay? It was the primary language spoken by the population. This is in part due to the Canterbury Tales' popularity. Middle English becomes the primary language for the royal court and upper class as well. Chaucer is called the father of English literature. The Chaucer's Tales tells the larger tale of the journey of the pilgrims to Canterbury Cathedral. It involves storytelling by individuals who range from a nun, a knight, a cook, a monk, and a merchant, and plus many more. His organization. Chaucer uses a pilgrimage, which is a religious journey, as a way for 29 characters to share their stories. Leaving from the Tavern Inn, which is pictured below, it's no longer there. I think it was torn down in 1850. Um, they're instructed to tell 2 tales on the way to Canterbury Cathedral and 2 on the return journey. The best tale will be rewarded by the inn owner and the host of the journey. Okay, so the premise. Why are they going to Canterbury Cathedral? Pilgrimages were very popular in the 1300s and, before that and after that. Why? Well, it showed your devotion and it was believed to have healing properties. So some people went on crusades to show their devotion to get rid of people that didn't believe in Christ, but not everybody could just go on a crusade because you needed money and you needed to be male. So a lot of people just went on pilgrimage. Archbishop Thomas Becket was murdered inside Canterbury Cathedral in 1170 when he disagreed with King Henry II over church rights and privileges. The church canonized him within 3 years of the murder. Most popular pilgrimage site in England in the 1300s. So when did Geoffrey Chaucer live? In the 1300s. So that's why this is our site, our setting. This stained glass depicts 2 nights of King Henry stabbing the Archbishop Thomas Becket. You can see him; he's kind of holding up his hand like, "No, please don't." Well, he gets killed, um, and then he's obviously Saint Thomas Becket. The structure of the Canterbury Tales. There's 3 parts. There's a general prologue, which we will read. There's the characters' prologues, and then there's the characters' tales. So we will read the general prologue, and then we'll only read the partner's prologue, and we'll read his tale. All right. Chaucer's poem begins with an introduction of all the pilgrims, the host, and Chaucer, who adds himself in as a fictional character. Each person is particularly identified by profession and appearance. There's also implied moral judgment. So this is going to be part of your discussion board this week, and I'll get more into that in a little bit. The general prologue also sets up the journey and frames the characters' individual stories. So speaking of framing, a frame story. This is a literary device in which a smaller story is told within the context of the tale, otherwise known as a story within a story. For example, Chaucer is telling the story of the pilgrims. Within that, a smaller story is told, and this is going to be a frequent literary device used in British literature. We're not going to get too much into the poetry part of the Canterbury Tales. We're going to get more into the analysis of the story, but be prepared because we are going to get into some poetry stuff whenever we get to the Tudor age poems. So I'm just going to skip this for now. All right, satire. When an author ridicules and exposes the faults of his or her subject. Chaucer really used this to provoke change. The Canterbury Tales is very important satire, pointing out the need for change in medieval beliefs and practices, in particular the church. Chaucer was a Christian. He had no problem with Christian beliefs itself. He had problems with the way the church was run and the people running it, and the way that I don't want to give too much away. The way that they allowed greed to mess up their moral judgment. I'll say it like that. 2 tools Chaucer uses to create satire are verbal irony and physiognomy. So verbal irony is when there's a meaningful contrast between what is said and what is actually meant. So in the stories like the best monk, when really the monk does not adhere to the ideals of the monk life. Once again, this is really good to point to a lot of people that are working for the church or working for God. Physiognomy, the use of physical appearance to suggest attributes of a person's character, personality. So, Disney does this a lot. They're always like, evil stepmother, they've got this hooked nose and sharp chin, bouffant hairstyle or whatever. First of all, step-parents aren't evil. Well, I mean, anybody can be evil, but just because they're step-parent doesn't mean they're evil. So whenever Chaucer starts describing some of these people that work within the church, just pay attention to how they are physically described. Um, Chaucer wanted each character to have 4 tales in total, but he died. Um, each character has a short introduction and general prologue, but he or she may be fully developed depending on if he got to it before he died or not. Um, yeah. Types of tales. Allegory. This is the story that we're going to read when we get to the partner. This is a story of teaching, a moral lesson. Characters and events represent abstract qualities or ideas. The writer intends a secondary meaning. So, of course, there's a story on the surface, but we're going to have a deeper meaning while we read the story. So, start getting your mind ready for analysis. Characters are often personifications of abstractions like greed, envy, etc. So, with this story, I want you to start thinking about what are the 7 deadly sins, because we're going to get into that later. That's going to be part of your group project. So, an example of allegory is going to be a partner sale, and get that allegory literary device definition in your head because we're going to be using that a lot. Romance. Ugh. Ugh. Makes me want to vomit. Um, a story focused on adventures of knights and challenges they face. The Wife of Bath's tale. Absolutely hate that tale. Love Chaucer, but hate The Wife of Bath. I can't remember if Miss Underwood agrees with me or disagrees with me. I don't know, but I refuse to ever read The Wife of Bath. I hate it. I'll tell you why tomorrow. If she agrees with me, she can tell you why she hates it. But this is all I have for you guys. Love y'all. Miss y'all. I will see y'all tomorrow.